You know that feeling when somebody says something completely innocent and you end up furious inside? Or when a simple request from somebody makes you tense up, you want to just scream or cry or run away? Well, it's not about them. It's your dark feminine energy rising, bubbling up. It's the rage that comes from suppression, something that you're suppressing or that you have learned to suppress that needs to come out, needs to be expressed. It's that part of you that refuses to stay small. So next time, listen, because this is your biggest potential for change. When most people talk about feminine energy, they talk about the soft side, the caring, the giving, the lighting a candle. But what about that rage? It feels like nobody's addressing this. So here's what nobody tells you about triggers. They're not random. They're your wild, untamed, natural self wanting to be heard, showing you exactly where you have caged her. Your nervous system doesn't care about insights, it cares about survival. And in that moment, you are protecting a version of yourself that you have been taught to suppress or to hide, where you've learned to dim your light, to suppress that power, that feminine energy. Think of it like this: when you was a little girl and you was loud and expressive, and you cried whenever you felt like it, whenever you felt that need. But sometimes for the grown-ups, this can be too intense, so they try and suppress this. So whenever you expressed something, you got into trouble. This doesn't only have to be hooked to childhood. No. Any relationship that you've had in your life. So being too intense equals to you being in trouble. So you made yourself smaller, quieter, and easier to deal with. And that wild, powerful part of you, you locked her in a box. And when you experience that rage, it's her knocking on the box. Now here's the trigger part. Years later, when somebody calls you dramatic, you feel that anger, that rage bubble up. Your body feels like it's exploding because it's that part of you that knows your worth, who takes up space and doesn't apologize for expressing feelings. So for me, for example, I've always had this big emotional trigger when I'm not being believed, when somebody directly or indirectly says that I'm lying. To trace this back from where this came from, it was when I started school. In Germany, you're stuck with one teacher for the first 5 years of school. Don't know if that has changed by now. But I was trapped with a woman that didn't really like me. But I always had this gift to talk in a way that captured people's attention. And I always liked to make people laugh. So every Monday there would be this circle where everybody would explain what they did on the weekend. And it was quite monotone and boring. Yeah, we watched a movie, we went to McDonald's, it wasn't really interesting. So I always picked out the things that were, the little moments that were funny, that made me laugh. So for example, one story was in Germany we have sausages a lot, and we had dogs, so we always used to make a bit more sausages than we could actually handle ourselves, so we could give them to the dogs afterwards. We also used to throw them into the garden and the dogs would prance after these sausages. But one time, my mum threw the sausage and she hit a flying bird. The bird crashed down to the floor. Everyone was just bedazzled. Even the dogs was just stood there looking at this bird, ruffling itself back up and then flying away again. What are the chances that you can hit a flying bird with a sausage? Now, we crippled ourselves with laughing on that day, and when I explained it in school, everybody was laughing as well, except for the teacher. And even when I got my mom in school to clarify that I was telling the truth, she didn't even make an effort to tell everybody that the story that I told was true. So everyone in my classroom thought that I was this liar. And this is something that is rooted down in my behavior patterns. But the key isn't just understanding this, where this behavior comes from. It's tracking that pattern so that your body can learn, oh, I see this happening and I can choose differently. So instead of suppressing or exploding, you can choose to behave differently. If you've been suppressing, you can openly say, hey, I'm telling the truth. If you don't want to believe me, then don't believe me. Or when you explode and you have the awareness in that moment, you can calm yourself down, because exploding is like over-explaining. It's like forcedly sticking up for yourself, which just leads to more frustration. Nevertheless, however you want to change that reaction to that trigger, you can't do it unless you have the awareness in place to catch yourself in that specific moment, to change that behavior. So it's not just about understanding, it's about giving your nervous system, your body, a new experience to work with. Now, this was only one thing, but we are a sum of millions of experiences, and so are our behaviors. That's what our behavior is based on, the sum of our experiences. So if you want to dive deeper into this and really make a change and stop limiting beliefs and self-limiting behavior patterns, then I invite you to join me. I've created a shadow work challenge where we explore this topic in depth, and finding your triggers is only one of the steps. So there's boundary setting, there's money mindset, relationships, your success mindset. We're working on with all these shadows to shift you from here to here, working with your shadows and your dark feminine energy. If you want to join, the link is down below. And if you want to unlock more shadow work and dark feminine energy secrets, then stay tuned to the upcoming videos. I'm creating a whole series on this. So see you in the next one. Bye bye.